Listeners, are you ready for your monthly literary adventure? We now have the BFF Book Club. Join us each month to explore a new book. After reading, connect with fellow book lovers and meet the author in a live interview. Can't make it live? Don't worry. We'll send you the recording. You can find all the upcoming book club selections at www.bookishflights.com/read/BFF Book Club. Hi, everyone, and welcome to Bookish Flights, the podcast where we tell our stories through our favorite books. I'm your host, Kara, and today I am flying solo to talk about something I know is on many of your minds as we prepare for the new year. Goals, and more goals. But specifically, I want to talk to you about how to read more books this year. Whether you're trying to hit a personal reading goal, deepen your love of books, or just find more joy through books in your everyday life, I've got some tips, strategies, and a new reading challenge to help you make it happen. So grab a cup of coffee, settle in, and let's begin. First, I'd like to talk about why reading matters. Reading enriches our lives in so many ways. I think we can all attest to it being a way to escape, relax, and recharge. It helps us grow as individuals by exposing us to new perspectives and ideas. And as we've talked about on the show many times, this will allow us to walk in someone else's shoes and increase our empathy. It's a way to connect with others, whether that's through book clubs, buddy reads, or simply sharing a favorite title with a friend. For me, reading is essential to making me feel grounded in a day. Whether you're a new parent who can't leave the house due to feeding or nap times, or a busy professional looking to make more time for yourself, reading can be tailored to any lifestyle. So let's talk about setting your reading intentions for 2025. Instead of jumping straight to a number here, let's take a moment to think about why you want to read more. Here's a couple of things I want you to think about as you're guiding your intentions. What genres or topics are you curious to learn more about? Are there any authors that maybe you've read one of their books and thought, I want to go explore more of their backlist? Do you want to read to learn, to relax, or to challenge yourself? Take a look at these 3 questions, and these will be your why, which will then help guide you to the how. And this will help you choose your next great book. Let's switch gears now and talk about strategies to read more. Number 1 is one of my personal favorites. Make reading a habit. Consistency is key here when you're starting to learn habit formation techniques. The first thing you can try here is setting a goal time to read each day, whether it's 5 minutes or 20. Take a look at your schedule and choose a time that you think you can stick with, because there's nothing worse than setting a goal and not making it. If you're anything like me, you will beat yourself up about not making the goal, and then you will never try again. So pick a goal that is attainable. Next, I would encourage you to do this at the same time every day. So whether that's first thing when you get up in the morning, during your lunch break at work, or right after you brush your teeth and head to bed. Carving out a regular time in your day makes a huge difference. My last tip here is to always carry a book with you. So whether you have your physical book, you have a Kindle, or you have an audiobook on hand, it makes it easy to read during the unexpected moments of downtime. Having a book handy when you find these precious moments of time makes it an easy choice to grab and go. I like to think of it as bringing my emotional support book wherever I go. My second tip here is to use audiobooks. Audiobooks are a game changer in my world. I think most of us would say that we are too busy, and it's often a reason why we don't read. But you can pop on an audiobook and multitask. It's a fantastic way to fit more reading into your life. You can listen while commuting, exercising, cooking, or folding laundry. You have heard me talk about this before. If you're someone who doesn't think audiobooks count as reading, I'd highly recommend checking out episode 116, where I did a deep dive into the research on audiobooks. Next strategy would be to join a reading community. Accountability and inspiration are powerful motivators. We talk about this in the world of exercise too, right? Join an accountability group. So yes, you can join us for the BFF Book Club, and yep, that's a shameless plug. The spring selections are live on the website, but you can also consider joining a local book club or an online group. And if you're thinking group things aren't really for me, there's also a thing called buddy reads where you enlist a friend or a family member and you read the same book together at the same time. Step 4 for strategies is to create a TBR list. Keep a running list of books that you're excited about. This prevents decision fatigue when you finish one book and are ready for the next. And as I do every year, I have created the 2025 Reading Challenge. There is one for adults and one for kids, and you can find them both on the website. In the top header, you just click on Reading Challenges and you will see the 2025 Reading Challenges are there. There are 12 prompts for adults and 8 for kids. And the kids one, I even added a coloring bookshelf that they could track each book as they read it. And you can find helpful prompts there to make this reading list for you. It's, like I said, just 12 books for adults, which is just one book a month, which I think all of you can do. My next strategy for reading more this year is to switch it up. Don't get stuck in a reading slump. Mix genres, different lengths of books, and different formats to keep things feeling different. If a book isn't resonating with you, it's okay to set it aside and try something new. If you're not familiar with the term DNF, which is did not finish, it's a term you want to get acquainted with. I think there's an art to DNFing a book. I spent about 10 to 15% with a book, and if it is not hitting me by that point, I decide to abandon ship. This has gotten much easier as my life has gotten busier because now I just have so little time to read great books. But get used to DNFing and don't feel like you need to hang on to the bitter end. Last tip I have here is to set realistic goals. Here's my PT brain coming at you. I love SMART goals. And SMART here is an acronym. So it stands for specific goals. So this could be, I want to read 80 books this year, or whatever number that is for you. Measurable goals. So again, having a number is a great and easy way to do this. You want something that is achievable. We talked about that before. And you want something that is relevant, which this is pretty easy to do because we know we're talking about books and reading here. But lastly, you want something that is time bound. So whether you want to set a monthly goal of reading one book or you say, I want to read 12 books by the end of this year, have a time frame surrounding that goal. Like I said before, there's nothing worse than not being able to check off that box for your goal. And speaking of checking off boxes, there's one other thing I would add to this, and that is track your progress. So whether you use a simple book journal or you use an app like Goodreads or Storygraph, when you can go in and check off that you have read this book and you see your progress going on throughout the year, it's a great motivator. You can also use this as a way to reflect your favorite reads of the year. So this is the time where now I'm looking back over 2024 and I write down all my 5-star reads. And then from there, I try to pick my top 5 to 10 books because I can never narrow it down to just one. And I pick my top 5 to 10 reads of the year. But if you track your progress, it is a great motivator. So to have a little fun, I figured I'd let you in on my reading goals for this year. So as your host, I am hoping to read more nonfiction this year. I spend a lot of time in the fiction world. I read a lot of books with my kids, but nonfiction is a genre I don't spend enough time in. So I want to read 6 nonfiction books this year. For my second goal, I always set the goal of reading 100 books for myself. And I usually hit it pretty consistently these days, thanks to audiobooks. So I'm pretty confident in meeting that. And then my third goal is to be trying one new genre this year. I love reading outside of my comfort zone. I think it can teach us a lot of things. Fun fact, the reason why I started this show is I always said I never loved fantasy, and I thought I can't say that I don't love the fantasy genre if I've never read it. But there are so many books in the fantasy genre, I didn't even know where to start. So I thought, what a fun way if I could talk to a friend that I know loves this genre, and he or she could recommend 3 books in that genre, and then I could try it, and that would give me a sampling of the fantasy genre. Hence, Bookish Flights was born, and here we are today. So if you're looking for kicking off your reading habit in 2025, you can head on over to Bookish Flights, and in the top header, you can choose the 2025 Reading Challenge. It's free and it's printable. Then you can head on over to the Book Flights tab on the page, and you can start to search for your next great book. They're sorted by fiction, nonfiction, and children's book flights, and there are over 372 book recommendations on there. Lastly, I want to leave you with this thought that reading is not a competition. It's about finding joy and connection and growth within yourself. So what's your reading goal for 2025? I'd love to hear about it. Share your plans with me on Facebook or Instagram at Bookish Flights. I'd love to keep this conversation going. Thank you so much for tuning in with me today. Until next time, happy reading, and may 2025 be your best reading year yet.